Good morning. I was trying to figure out what could I talk to about India to a group like this. India is all set now to be the third largest economy by the end of this decade. We got independence in 1947, and the whole country's geared up to 100 years of independence. That's a picture of our moonshot. Like the US, which was in a race with the USSR to get a man onto the moon first, we were in a race with Russia to be the first country to land on the lunar South Pole. And like the US, which is a democracy, this democracy won that race also. But that causes the question, why is a poor country wasting money sending a rocket to the moon? And that's one of the lessons we want to talk about today. That mission cost us $75 million only. NASA would have spent $1 billion to get up over there, but we've been able to do so with low-cost innovation, and that's the message why that's up over here. But also, what's it got to do with the Liberty Forum? I think India is likely to be the first successful poor democracy. The US, the UK, South Korea, all became rich countries and then became democracies, or they got out of the poverty trap. China is still not a democracy. But India, we decided that way back when we started out, we would be a democracy. And we've stayed as a democracy over the last 75 years. And we now have the chance to be a not-so-poor country coming up. It's a messy path. We've had 30 years since we opened up the economy. We've had different country prime ministers. We've had different political parties. But the frameworks that we followed in terms of opening up the economy, the policies, have remained the same. In 1947, we became a democracy. And people didn't expect us to survive. We were a poor country, many languages, not really united. Just imagine Europe in 1947 if it was poor and was made into one country. That's what India was. People said it won't succeed. It will collapse. That's what one of Churchill's comments was. But we've stayed together as a country, as a democracy for 75 years. In 1951-52, we had our first elections. 360 million people eligible to vote, 1/6 of the population at that time. Every adult was allowed to vote. 85% of them either couldn't read or write. In the US, there was adult universal suffrage after people learned how to read or write. In India, we did it before. 47% of the population voted at that time. You see an electronic voting booth over here. This was in the last elections 4 years ago. 912 million people were eligible to vote. 67% voted. The results were out in 4 days, and there were no court challenges. Think about that here. People have said, because of this voting in the electronic thing, you can tamper with the votes. But the ruling party lost recently 2 major state elections. If they could control it, they wouldn't have lost that. The Prime Minister is not able sometimes to push through reforms, like there was this reform for farm laws, which we at CCS thought was a great idea. It couldn't get pushed through because of the political process over here. So we have a democracy which will challenge. There is friction, there is challenges over here, and that's why lessons from people in this room are important for us as we sort of move forward into the next sort of 25 years of our first 100 years. This is an interesting slide, and I must say I was confused when I saw this. It shows that the trust in government in India is the highest in most parts of the world at 52%. It's possibly also because of trust in a person, which is the Prime Minister today. But it's an interesting outlier when the rest of the world is at 22%. At CCS, we did a study, and from that study, we realized that people trust the government. They don't necessarily trust the person they are interacting with in the government. But there are challenges. There are social issues, there's inequality, there is unemployment, there is challenges with investments coming in. But I think we're all moving in the right direction, and that's why I guess the ability to have a growing economy, a strong government, which people trust, is actually a very interesting situation to be in to help us grow forward. Digitalization is going to be a big sort of opportunity for us in the country. This is a picture of a street vendor. She's selling vegetables on the street, and she has a little piece of plastic over here. With that, I stick my phone, I scan it, it's a piece of plastic, and I can pay my money to her, whether it's 10 rupees or 80 rupees, which is $1. She doesn't require electricity, she doesn't require Wi-Fi, she doesn't require hardware. That's the ability, the unified payments interface that we've developed over here, enables people at the lowest level to be able to access the digital world. At CCS, we do a lot of work with street vendors, and thanks to the support of the Atlas networks, that we are able to capitalize and help people like them grow up over here. Nandan Nilekani, a tech entrepreneur in India, said India will be data rich before we become economic rich. And what we see in this image is also of the data stack. The data stack is really our digital public infrastructure, which creates opportunities for people to be part of this. There's something called the Aadhaar number. It's basically like the Social Security number on steroids. And it basically gives people a chance for the first time in their lives to be part of the formal economy. Today, we have 1.35 billion Aadhaar cards issued. Just imagine the size of that. And the cost of doing so has been a fraction of what it would cost in other parts of the world. But let's come back to this digital platform that we're building out. So we have UPI, which enables micro-transactions to be done in a cost-effective manner. All she requires is that little sticker over there. We are developing something called ONDC, the Open Network for Digital Commerce, which basically helps hyper-local markets go digital. Credit, because of the Aadhaar number, people can take loans even for $100, et cetera, in a cost-effective manner. And obviously, AI is going to be a big sort of opportunity over here as we go about, for example, just the languages and being able to communicate with different languages at the same time. All this is developed in an open network architecture format. It's like, imagine you sitting over here and you sitting over here and communicating by email. You may have a different, you may be on Gmail, you may be on Yahoo, or whatever, and you're communicating with each other, and you get to see the same message. That's what it's like over here. It's all open network. The data is owned and available on an open platform, obviously with, we hope, with proper safeguards. And is my time up? Oh, shucks, I didn't realize I lost track of time. Is my 8 minutes up? Okay, thank you, sorry. So I apologize, I wasn't keeping track of the time. I got so excited with what I was saying. So just look at the numbers, 1.35 billion users. We have something called a DigiLocker. On my phone, I have my Aadhaar number, my driving license, my car registration numbers, my tax papers, all available on the phone to use as proof. There are 140 million people who have that, and 10.24 billion UPI transactions happen every month. Frugal innovation is something that we've done. I've talked about the rocket. This is a train which was developed. It's very high quality, developed within 18 months, cost $14 million to do. It's better than what you have on Amtrak, even better than the one you have between DC and New York. And it's all developed locally. Vaccines were developed, $2 a vaccine in India versus $25 in the US. And finally, this is a slide of kids in Ladakh. They're at 17,000 feet elevation. They're all aspiring to reach the top. They have in a school which today has got connectivity and has ability for them to be able to have digital labs. We set up, with this organization, 70,000 Feet Foundation, we set up libraries and playgrounds for them. And we also have digital labs where they have electricity available through solar panels, which again, at that height and that temperature is not possible, so we had to use gel-based batteries. We created connectivity through using a Raspberry Pi, and these kids are now connected to the world, and they have that ability. We're inviting you to come to India. Next year, we're hosting the Asia Liberty Forum in September and the Mont Pelerin Society event. Come and see for yourself, because we need your support. As Lyle said, together we will be able to change the world and make India the world's first successful poor democracy. Thank you.